Greetings. My name is LaShawn Allen Muhammad, Executive Director of Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. It is an honor to share our work at the HBCU Business Roundtable Summit. We are very proud to say that we are Medgar College School of Business community partners. Over the past 5 years, we have developed more than a partnership. It feels more like a community family. Dean Roll, Professor Crump, they've been tremendous influences within our organization. Their entire team has been so supportive to our work, and they're just committed to making a difference in the community. So it is my hope that my presentation not only expresses our gratitude, but it also provides a model for how academic and community should work together. I would like to share some information, just some background on our organization. Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation has been providing community services since its founding in 1989. CBEDC is located in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, and over the past 32 years, the agency has been committed to playing a significant role in the revitalization of our community through business and workforce development. Past activities includes a revolving loan program, business startup assistance programs, a 9-week business training course, as well as workforce development initiatives. We've worked with over 18,000 people and placed over 6,000 in gainful employment. Our current programs include a business incubator, providing services to local residents who are interested in starting up a local business or a nonprofit organization. We also run an adult literacy program designed to provide pathways to higher education, employment, and entrepreneurship. We also run an after-school program that provides middle school students with entrepreneurship skills just to plant the seed, to make sure that we are doing our part, to make sure that we are cultivating the next generation of business owners in our community. Now, some background about Brownsville. I think it's important to just provide some context as to why we have taken the direction that we're taking on local business development. Brownsville is a residential neighborhood located in the eastern section of Brooklyn in New York City. The neighborhood is comprised of it's actually borders of 4 different neighborhoods in Brooklyn. It was founded in 1858, and for about close to 100 years, the community was primarily owned and occupied by Jewish residents. My own great-grandmother actually migrated with her family to the Brownsville section of Brooklyn in 1927. And so in the early 20s, 30s, you started to see an influx of Black residents in the community, but it wouldn't be until about maybe the 1950s, 1960s, where you really started to see a real migration. And at the same time, we started to see the development of the NYCHA, the New York City Housing Authority developments, began to be constructed. And although they were meant to be temporary housing, over the past 50, 60 years, what wound up happening is a lot of the land was developed and created the largest concentration of public housing in the entire country. So there's no place else in the United States that has more of a concentration of public housing than in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. And so, as I stated, around 1960s and until the present, we currently have predominantly Black and Brown residents. About 95% of its residents are Black and Hispanic. And although Brownsville has had a huge history of manufacturing, local business ownership, it literally belonged to the Jewish residents at the time, and it still remains in the most of the commercial buildings remain owned by Jewish residents. And so we must devise a sustainable economic development model that supports hyper-local ecosystems, that removes barriers around access to capital investments towards business development and ownership of physical property. And so what we're seeing, not only in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, but pretty much all around Brooklyn, where there are lots of development happening, community, investments by the city and state are developing large buildings like you see behind me, in communities, and what we keep hearing about the word gentrification and people being displaced. And we want to make sure that what we're doing in Brownsville is to stay ahead of a potential displacement, right? We don't want to encourage, or we don't want to exacerbate forced migration. And so we're working really hard with our business partners like Medgar Evers College to come up with sustainable economic development models to make sure that not only is the community transforming, but the people are transforming along with it. And so I just would like to share some demographics about Brownsville. Again, low income, about 125,000 residents overall. 23% of its households make less than $10,000 a year. We have an 8.3% unemployment rate, and I would venture to say that with the onset of COVID, those numbers are a little bit higher. We have about 54%, over half are rent burdened, and we have 58%, or more than half, of the community are New York State born. We also have lots of vacant lots, and vacant lots as well as vacant commercial spaces. And so 54% of the the lots are owned by the city. 21% are owned by private owners, and 17.59% is owned or is the land that's where NYCHA developments sit. And so I really want to pay specific attention to that, because right now, some of you may or may not know that NYCHA is also leasing out that land to private developers. And so, we have a small window of opportunity to make sure that some of those vacant lots, those private owned lots, that we obtain ownership, or that we build or we develop processes to make sure that some of that land or some of those buildings become owned and occupied by local residents. And so again, just want to share really quickly some additional statistics. We have, so citywide, there's about 17.5% of its residents are living in poverty. In the borough of Brooklyn, about 19.5%. In our district in Brownsville, it's about 33%. So that's pretty significant. We have a pretty large number of residents who are unbanked. And again, the commercial vacancies on our business corridors is about 16%, compared to, is almost, 3 times the amount of, in the city or the borough. And so I just wanted to give you some background about the community where we are located, and just to give you a sense of how important the work that we're doing is and what it means, or what it could mean in the community. And so just to provide you some background on the partnership with Medgar Evers College School of Business, since 2016, when we initially became partners with Medgar Evers College, we participated, and we pretty much every year we participate in their conferences. So the first conference that we participated in, I served as a panelist on the Corporate Responsibility Conference. It's been an amazing experience, and I just have to say that Dean Roll, I think she is the most inclusive person that I've ever met. And what I greatly appreciate from her is her appreciation for community voice. And that's what's unique, I think, about this partnership. It provides, there's an appreciation and an openness to hear from the community, right? To learn from us as we also learn from them. And so it's just been such a rich experience. In 2017, we also began an internship process. And so, as I mentioned, we have an after-school program where we teach entrepreneurship education for middle school students. And so some of Medgar Evers College students have completed internships with us, and that was a great experience. We also participated in a community conference called One Brooklyn through Sustainability and Partnerships, How Businesses and Communities Can Grow Together. So this is just some of the pictures that we've taken many pictures from different events, and this is a picture from an event that was hosted or co-hosted with the United Nations and with Chile and also Kenya. And so, we've benefited actually from participating in lots of Medgar Evers College School of Business events, and it's given us a platform to also, meet people and work on a global level. These are, again, just some of the pictures. So here we are with our after-school students, and Professor Crump is there with a couple of interns from Medgar Evers College. And then the young man on the right is a graduate from our adult literacy program. So once he achieved his high school equivalency diploma and graduated, he actually became a student at Medgar Evers College, and we actually held the graduation at Medgar Evers College. So it was just amazing. And he's now actually in an apprenticeship program, learning how to be an exterminator. So he's well on his way to success. So these are just some pictures from other community events that we collaborated with together. We have Erastus Monguer. He's from Startup Africa. So through Medgar Evers, we also met Mr. Monguer, and he's there. He is in the back, and that's Dean Roll. And when they visited us in Brownsville, and we had a meeting to discuss the collaboration with Startup Africa. So we actually utilized the Startup Africa curriculum within our after-school program. And in front in the yellow jacket is our program director, Miss Anisha Williford. And on the right, this was also another event that we collaborated on, where I served as a moderator, and Dean Roll also participated as a panelist, where and this event was held at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Again, just sharing some more information from our partnership overview. In 2018, we decided to expand or become part of the Medgar Evers College School of Business and their affiliation agreement with LIU to create an initiative called the Cradle to the Grave. And so these are some pictures from an event that we participated in. It was called It's a Family Affair, going back to what I said earlier. It truly does feel more like a family. And these are pictures with our adult literacy students, and we discussed what it would look like to create a 5-year program where someone could graduate and obtain their high school equivalency diploma, get a 4-year degree from Medgar Evers College School of Business, and then transition to an accelerated graduate program to obtain an MBA within a year. So within 5 years, someone essentially could graduate with their high school equivalency diploma and obtain an MBA within 5 years. So these are some other pictures of Dean Roll. And so just in clear Dean Roll fashion, this is what, so we had some activities, and she wrote, "How will we change our community and the world?" And that is truly the essence of Dean Roll. She's just so amazing. And this is us at another event, and that's with Nia Rock. And this was an event that discussed the Economic Opportunity Zone initiative. And so, again, just many, many events, and over the past 5 years, literally. And, COVID has not stopped us, right? We continue to work even in the virtual space. And I just also wanted to share that through Medgar Evers, especially specifically through Professor Crump, I was introduced to the executive director of the Howard University Executive MBA program, and through that introduction, I was able to attend a special program at Howard University and received certification as an executive coach. So that experience was facilitated through the relationship with Medgar Evers College School of Business. And so again, just going back to provide some background and more details around the work, the specific work that we're doing with Medgar College. So in 2016, when we began our partnership with Medgar College, we served our facility served as a satellite location for the Entrepreneurship Experiential Lab, the EEL. And one of the things that we, started to explore is, what would be the best way to develop sustainable economic models in low-income communities, specifically in neighborhoods that, like Brownsville, that experience high levels of poverty, or underemployment, food, housing, and health insecurities. And how can Central Brooklyn, as a local agency, empower local residents to become entrepreneurs and facilitate business ownership in Brownsville? And again, remember, I stated that most of the businesses were owned and operated by folks who lived outside of the community. So how do we, move the needle on that, right? How do we, create an independent Black community that consists of, residents who are gainfully employed and who are actually owning the businesses where they live? And so the research was framed around 3 lines of inquiry. What are the barriers and challenges to economic growth and property ownership? What are some of the socioeconomic, demographic challenges? And what are some successful economic models and strategies that we could adopt as a neighborhood? And so some of the opportunities that were, and this was facilitated again through Medgar College. This was a study that was done with the Hunter Graduate School of Urban Policy and Planning, and the title of the study was called Own Brownsville. So it was just a way to pretty much do some add some research and data to the work that we had already been doing on the ground. And so some of the models or some of the recommendations that the researchers came up with included, community land trusts, home ownership, creations of incubator worker cooperatives, also developing models around financial awareness and capacity building, also coming up with capital to purchase or develop commercial properties, and aggressive workforce development programming. Also, again, the networking models that we already have in place, but to also include, in addition to Medgar College School of Business, the New York City Economic Development Agency, as well as, other city and state institutions. And so this, I just wanted to also share that one of the, just talking about the global experiences that we've had due to our relationship with Medgar College School of Business. That study that I just shared with you, I had the opportunity to present with Professor Price at a conference last year, and we actually won best track, for our paper around Own Brownsville. And so on the left, you see, there were about 4 different papers that were presented, and we overwhelmingly, the response to Own Brownsville, it was amazing. And so, and then on the right, there was, we recently presented the paper at a conference at the Haley College of Commerce in Pakistan, and we also, again, we won best track. And so it really does, I think it really demonstrates the powerful work that we're doing on the ground, in Brooklyn. So although we are a very small community, but what we're looking to develop really does have global impact. And so just wanted to also share that there's, as I mentioned, there's a lot of development happening in our community, and we have an opportunity to propose the development of a cooperatively owned supermarket. And so this was presented to HPD a couple of months ago, and so now we're waiting to find out if the proposal will be accepted. But if so, we have the opportunity to work with Medgar College as well as Howard University to design a customized business curriculum for community residents to not only provide generic business training, but also a concentration an industry concentration, right? And what do I mean by that? So imagine, these high-end supermarkets that we're seeing in various parts of our borough, right? Not normally, you wouldn't find these spaces in communities like Brownsville. It's more so like downtown Brooklyn, and I'm sure whatever city or state that you're in, there's certain neighborhoods where you have more high-end supermarkets. So this kind of looks like the Trader Joe's and or Whole Foods in Manhattan, right, and in New York. And but what we're proposing is at a high-end like supermarket be developed in our neighborhood, but that it is cooperatively owned by local residents. And there's also a farm space in the back that will also serve. So here's our supply chain. So we're learning how to grow our own food that will actually provide the fruits and vegetables within the market. So this is literally located outside of the market. And so this will be our new home in 2023. And so right now we are located in a building that is a city-owned building. But I have it behind me, and also the rendering you see in front of you. This will be a 7,000 square foot business center, first of its kind, in Brownsville. And the space will include, so this will be the new site for the Medgar Evers EEL lab, and it will also include designated areas for co-working spaces, classrooms, conference room. It literally will be a state-of-the-art center designed to serve as a catalyst for local business development. And so lastly, what are we doing? We are changing the narrative and reclaiming our community power with academic partners. In Brownsville, and I grew up here. This was the community where I was born and raised. I grew up in Tilden houses. I'm a product of the NYCHA development as well. And, but we have a model in our community, and it says, we say, when you're from Brownsville, right, never ran, never will. And it's emblematic of the spirit of the people in this community. We are a vibrant community made up of talented people, committed institutions, and thriving businesses, or will be thriving businesses. We aren't afraid of a challenge, and we are not looking for anyone to save us. However, it is important that we begin to change the narrative about our community from one that is based on deficit thinking to one that is focused on the strengths and potential of our community. And we know that with academic partners like Medgar Evers College School of Business, we will facilitate opportunities for the Brownsville community to be a part of its community transformation. Thank you very much. It has been an honor indeed. And again, I want to say a special thank you to Dean Roll and Professor Crump and all of the faculty at Medgar Evers College School of Business. It has been a complete honor and a blessing to work with you all. Thank you.